Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Mujer De Exito Unbounded. I am your host, Marti Angel, asking you to have a beautiful day, to do whatever it takes that makes you happy. Welcome back, Mujeres Hermosas Chulas. Welcome back to another episode of the Mujer De Exito Unbounded podcast, where we talk about building businesses, we talk about building wealth, we talk about leading with purpose, we talk about becoming a servant leader, and how collaboration over competition is the best thing. We give you tips and tricks, and we talk about the Latina authors who have beautiful books. And we talk about living as fully as possible and as fully expressed and fully powerful for you, the mujerpreneur that you were born to be. So I am your host, Marti Angel. Soy su anfitriona, Marti Angel. If you're watching me on the Coach Marti Angel YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an episode. If you're listening to me wherever you listen to your favorite shows, make sure to download the episode and check the show notes for goodies. All right, let's get to it. So today, I want to share with you that on Substack, I write, and my identity is the Sixth Sense Mujer. You see, I've always been a Sixth Sense Mujer since I was born, since I could, think about it. But this morning, I want to talk to you about a story where my sixth sense walked me into a betrayal. Yes, hermosas chulas, I need to tell you this because this is something that I have kept out of my professional spaces for way too long. And without telling the truth, and everything is about, telling the truth nowadays. And I've always been a truth teller. So today, I want to talk about my sixth sense. I'm no longer going to hide behind, no, I don't do that, or I don't know, I just knew that, or I don't know, I just feel, or it seems to me, all those things are just, all of those were just like walls that I was hiding behind. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about my sixth sense, not as a fun spiritual concept and not as a metaphor, but as a real documented lifelong gift that I have had since I was born. And in order for me to understand it, when I asked my mom and my grandmothers, what they said to me was, it is a gift. Although I'm going to be honest with you. Many times when I was a child, I remember it coming to a head when I was between the ages of 11 and 13. And I remember thinking I was possessed. That's how much I knew something was up with me, right? So yes, I have real documented lifelong gift that literally has protected me, ruined me, betrayed me, and, you name it. It has helped me guide my clients, mujeres hermosas chulas. Hoy voy a hablar del el sexto sentido que he tenido yo desde mi infancia, desde que yo me acuerdo, hasta preguntarle a mi mamá y a mi abuela, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué es esto? Hasta que me dijeron, la verdad, que ellas eran, que mi abuela y mi bisabuela eran curanderas y que la gente les decía que eran brujas. So, what I want to share with you is things that no training, no credential, and no business strategy could ever have revealed. And I want to start with the story that changed everything for me. The morning I walked into my school campus as the principal. I had walked into the school campus many moons, before, many years before, but this day stood out negatively, darkly, I want to say. And my body told me that I was walking into a trap that day, but I didn't really feel it. But I mean, I didn't want to believe it. I felt it, but I didn't want to believe it. Lo sentí, pero no lo quería creer. El día que yo entré a mi escuela, siendo directora de esa escuela, ese día fue muy diferente para mí. I was a school principal. I had years of education. I had years of teaching classroom experience. I had leadership and business experience. I had service. I had built a culture in that school that I knew every face, every family, every energy in that building. You see, because I actually came to that school as an assistant principal. So I had been at that school many, many, many times before. But on this particular morning, esta mañana en particular, algo muy grave me pasó a mí. I felt uneasy. So I walked in like any other morning until I saw her. My personal secretary was standing outside of my office, something that she never did. And when I saw her standing there, not only did I see her, but what I saw her aura. Now, do I see auras? Yes. I've always seen colors around people, and that was one of the things I never understood until my later years in life. But that day, something shifted inside me. The second I laid eyes on her, something shifted. Something didn't feel good. I felt almost like I wanted to run and scream. Algo pasó cuando la vi a ella, mi secretaria personal, parada allí, viéndome. The second I laid eyes on her, I looked at her the way I always look at people. And what I saw stopped me cold, like I said before. Here's what I saw. Aquí es lo que yo vi cuando la miré a ella, parada allí. Her aura was dark brown. It came from her feet, extended out, and as it came up to her head and her heart, it turned black, from a brown to a black. It was, I say it was almost black, but because you could kind of see through it, but it was black. And then a heaviness consuming her entire energetic auric field came around her. It was dense. It was murky. It was like storm clouds sitting right on top of her body. Mujeres hermosas, chulas. It was so scary. I had never, ever seen that, or at least I don't think I've ever seen that before. Maybe that day I was just paying more attention than other days. But it was sitting right on top of her body. I could see it, and it was, it just looked crappy. I mean, that's what I can say. And then here's what happened at that same exact moment. I felt like somebody just punched me right in the stomach, like the wind was knocked out of me. So sudden. Al momento que la vi, sentí que alguien me pegó en el estómago y me sacó todo el aire. De un de repente, era tan físico. It was so physical that it was all I could do to keep walking. I literally had to kind of hold on to the wall to get to my office, my personal office, get to my desk, and then sit down. And as I was walking past her, she screamed out, "Oh, Miss," and she said my name, my last name, and she looked at me, she says, "What are you doing here with these big eyes?" She looked scared the moment she saw me. Al momento que ella me vio, los ojazos se le abrieron grandototes, como que si yo era el diablo o algo muy feo para ella. Pero lo que pasó es que ella tenía miedo. Yo sentí el miedo que ella tenía. I felt her fear. And here's what I found out later. I found out later that she had been told by the district office, by my assistant superintendent, that I would not be there that day. You see, unbeknownst to me, she had a little scheme going on behind my back while I was focused on raising scores, on making sure the students had their quality education and quality food and writing grants and all of that stuff. She was busy undermining my integrity. So minutes later, that same moment, because it happened so fast, my phone rang. She answered and said, the district office wants to talk to you. I answered, it was the superintendent. And mind you, at my school, I don't know about your school, but at my district office, I call it the that foam always rises, because what was at the top was all these white men. All these white men, they were all the assistant superintendents. They were the superintendent. They were the directors of everything. We had like token people. We had one Hispanic person in the district office. Everybody else was white, and absolutely no people of color up into the office, which was, to me, that was like not representative of the community that we were serving. So here's what the superintendent said. Before I tell you that, if you're watching me on the Coach Marti Angel YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an episode with all these stories that I'm starting to drop now. And if you're listening to me wherever you listen to your favorite shows, make sure that you download the episode. So now let's get to it. Here's what the voice on the other side of the phone said to me. Marti, drop everything you're doing. Come to the district office now. And then I asked, well, I have a meeting. Come to the district office now. I need to grab you don't grab anything. You come to the district office now. Bam, they hung up. So when I got to the district office, which was very surprising for me, but it wasn't surprising for my secretary, because I could tell. Now, what I heard after from a couple of my teachers that were, as shocked as I was, what I heard was that she was going around telling people that I would be absent that day. So what happened at the district office? I was led into a big room with all these head honchos, all the men and the white women, all of them. I was the only Hispanic in the room, and I was told to sit down because I was being questioned on whether or not I had taken school property. It was a setup, hermosa. It was a setup. And here's the setup. I'm such a truth teller that, as you will find out later what happened, I told the truth. A coordinated effort to catch me off guard, unprepared, and destabilized. But I was none of those things, because my body, my aura reading, my energy, my sixth sense had already told me everything I needed to know before a single word was spoken. So, hermosas chulas, if you're still with me and watching me on the Coach Marti Angel YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. And if you're listening to me wherever you listen to your shows, make sure to download the episode. Here's what happened next. I walked into that district office prepared. I walked in knowing that they were going to attack me. And that is not luck. That is not coincidence, because I don't believe in coincidence. That was a gift I was born with, a gift I spent years minimizing in professional spaces because I thought the world wasn't ready for the principal who reads auras. And just between you and me, that's how I hired my teachers and my support staff. I would look at their auras. But here's what I want you to know now. Here's the truth, mujeres hermosas chulas. The world needs people like me. I didn't know that then. I thought I was just a freak of nature. But the world needs exactly the gift that I have had. So let me share with you what the sixth sense actually is. What is a sixth sense? Everybody has a sixth sense. Here it is. Everybody has a sixth sense. Todos tenemos el sentido. Ese sentido, el sexto sentido. Todos lo tenemos. La única diferencia es que yo juego con mi sexto sentido diario. The only difference between my sixth sense and your sixth sense, mujeres hermosas chulas, is that I play with mine every single day. And I have since I was a child. I'll do simple little things like I will close my eyes in the dark, take a deep breath, and then I'll open them up and I'll allow myself to have feels. I call them feels, right? Allow myself to feel. And, I know that I have this gift that I called a curse. When I am in a Reiki session with somebody and I put my hands inside your aura and over, like even right now, everything that is inanimate or an inanimate object or an animate object still has an aura, really close like this or really big like mine, right? If I try to put my hands where my aura is, you'll notice that they keep opening up, right? So let me break this down for you because you're probably watching me looking at my face, or if you're watching me on the Coach Marti Angel YouTube channel, wondering, is she for real? Yes, I am for real. But I want you to understand something. Quiero que entiendan algo. This is not a fantasy. This is not a woo-woo. Science, military research, and centuries of indigenous and curandera wisdom all point to the same verdad. Nosotros, los humanos, human beings, we have an intuitive receiving system that goes far beyond our 5 physical senses. Nosotros como humanos tenemos una intuición de recibir mensajes y recibir cosas que no podemos explicar, que sobresalen fuera de nuestros 5 sentidos. They go far beyond our 5 senses. And for me, those systems are fully activated. Let me share with you how they show up. You see, it's not just one thing. It's not just like I'm always this, only this, or I'm always only this, or I'm always reading frequencies, or I'm always, nuh-uh. Let me explain. As a clairsentient, I feel energy in my body. When I am in a Reiki session, though, my clients' issues show up in my body before they tell me a word. Usually, I just, trust my hands that I know that those have always been ones that do service for the creator, for the universe, for God, for whatever it is you want to call him. But my hands are guided. I feel what they carry. So I feel the energy. As a clairvoyant, though, I see auras. I do. But I don't tell people. And you know why I don't tell people I see auras? Because I get the same response and it just bugs the crap out of me. If I were to tell people I'm clairvoyant and that I see auras and that I see colors and that I see spirits around the people I work with, they would say, "What color do you see in me? Look at me. What do you see?" I'm like, it doesn't work that way. It's not like it's always on. It's not like a switch that I wake up in the morning, I turn it on, and it's on all day long. No, I'm a human being having a spiritual existence. So what happens is a lot of times my spiritual gifts are hidden inside my humanness, right? Yes, I see colors. And yes, I see spirits around the people I work with. But that day, that dark cloud on my secretary's aura, was not imagination. It was information. Information that I had to quickly take in, decipher, and then figure out what I was going to do with it. And as a claircognizant, because I am a little bit of everything, we all are, I just know things. You know, people are like, "Well, how do you know that?" Since I was a kid, I would just tell people, "Oh, I don't know. I just know I know." There's no logical explanation. How do I know that? How did I know that that was going to happen? How did I know that was going to break? Lots of times I see things and they're going to break. I just do. And then it happens, right? Information arrives complete, certain, and undeniable. I cannot tell you how I know. I just do. Just like when I was 12 years old, there was a friend of mine, and we were playing and and flirting with some guys, and doing the 12-year-old thing, right? And then all of a sudden, I just knew. I looked at my friend, and the same thing happened. Her aura just turned. It was a bright blue, and then it went into a dark blue, and then it went into a brown. And I knew in that moment that I was going to hear her scream. And what happened? Sure enough, I heard her scream. During Reiki sessions, though, I want you to know that I hear my clients' thoughts sometimes, not every time. I receive messages sometimes from spirits that are present in the room when I do Reiki. So I have to clear the energy. I stopped doing Reiki for a while. My body just... My energetic body feels like it's time to open up my shop again so that I can help. There is a lot of darkness in this world, and I think by me opening up my shop to do Reiki again, I can allow more light to come into this world so that the light is stronger than the darkness. Okay, so, I've seen people on my table. Let me give you an example. One day, well, I'll give you two examples. How's that? Les voy a dar dos ejemplos de cositas así que pasan. Somebody was on my Reiki table. A woman was on my Reiki table. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that her mother had passed recently. But as I was starting to do my session with her, there was somebody standing in the corner, and she was wearing, a kind of like a dark robe, like a black dress. She was wearing a black dress. Her hair was really nicely done. And I noticed that I couldn't see her feet, but I did notice that it was like an apparition, if you will. So then I said to the young lady on the table, I said, by any chance, do you know a woman? And then I went on to explain the details of what I was seeing. that has or is wearing this or has worn this color hair, this, and that. All the details, all the things. And as she was laying on my table, she started crying. And then I sat her up and I said, okay, we're going to, take a little break, hit her some water. And she said, could you describe what you saw again? And I did. And she said, oh my God, she says, that's my mother. And I said, really? I said, is your mother alive or is she dead? Because I've had people come in even though they're alive. And so she said, no, she just passed about 2 weeks ago. That's why I'm here. And it was like, oh, so things like that happen, right? Things like that happen. And then there was another time. I had somebody on my table and she had heard that I see this and she was going through a divorce and all of this. And as I'm on the table, as she's on the table and my hands are, going around her and I'm clearing out her aura. This is the first time I saw specks and I was like pulling specks that look like you're going to probably gross out, but they look like bugs. And I was pulling them out of her aura. Anyway, as I began to pull them up, she was sitting on the bed, bench, whatever you want to call it. And all of a sudden her arms went like this, straight up. And I was like, ooh, that's weird. I was like, okay, what do I do here? Do I break the session? Her arms just went straight up. They floated up. And I was like, and I said her name, Sherry, right? Names are different to protect the innocent. I said, do you know that your arms are up? She opened her eyes and was like surprised that her arms were up. And I said, can you put them down? And she goes, how'd they get up there? And I said, I don't know. So interesting little things that happen. So anyway, these are things that I've never shared with anybody. Here's another one. I speak in tongues in my sleep, not every night. Sometimes I even sit straight up in my bed having full conversations with presence at the foot of our bed. My husband freaks out. He totally, now after 44 years of marriage, he's like, whatever, she's just a weirdie. So he says that he does the sign of the cross. Dice que se persina mi esposo cuando empieza a hablar en la noche. He does the sign of a cross and then he puts his hands on his belly and he's just like praying, please don't let her hit me. So this is not new. This is something, that happens a long time. And, I've actually been asked to do workshops. And I've done workshops not for auras, for chakras, because that's what my book is about. If you've ever, read my short, sweet book, which is, a journey through your personal energy system, change your energy, change your life is what the book is called. So these things have been with me my entire life. And it doesn't disappear when I put my coach hat on, or it doesn't disappear when I put my podcasting hat on. As you can see, I always wear a hat and big earrings when I podcast. All right. So if you know anybody that has some nice earrings that they'd be willing to have me wear on the podcast, or maybe a beautiful hat, send them my way. Anyway, let me chat with you, hermosas chulas. This sixth sense that I have, over the years, it's amplified. And this shows up in my work that I do as a coach. It also shows up in my work that I did as a network marketer, believe it or not. And here's what this means when we work together. If you are looking at me going like, ooh, that would be cool to work with her. Some people are afraid to work with me because they're afraid that I might look into their aura and find things they don't want me to see, which that's fine too. But when you come to me as a mujerpreneur, I'm not just analyzing your brand strategy. I am reading the energetic block that is keeping you from charging your worth. I am feeling the grief underneath your I am just not consistent. The grief that you feel when I am not making the money that I feel I'm deserving to make. You see, I'm seeing the version of you. Here's what happens. Aquí es lo que pasa. Quiero que entiendan muy bien. I want you to understand this very clearly. I am seeing the version of you that you have not stepped into yet. And I am calling her forward. That's what I do in my coaching sessions, and that's what I do in my Reiki sessions, and that's what I do in my chakra sessions, right? So when I'm working with my nutritional clients as a health coach, I receive intuitive hits about what is happening in their body. The lab tests have not yet caught lots of things that I see. When I sit with a Latina author who is stuck on her story, I can feel where the truth is being held back and where the real power in her voice lives. This is what happens when a mujerpreneur with a white crown chakra and an open heart chakra, a curandera lineage, a Reiki master, certified 3 times over, a yoga therapist, a professor of yoga, the Yoga Sutras, and a meditation, advisor, and like I said before, and an hija of a brujita. Decades of leadership and business experience sits across from you. That's who's sitting across from you. Me. All of that is me, all rolled up. You're not just getting a strategy when you work with me. You're getting a vision. And that's what happens. But hermosas chulas, if you're still with me, if you haven't hung up the phone or hung up your, and said, this woman is crazy, está loca, está vieja. If you haven't, if you're still with me, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. And check out the links in the description below, because there's the link for my book. It's less than a cup of coffee. If you're listening to me wherever you listen to your shows, look on the wherever you listen to your favorite shows, I should say. Look in the show notes. The link for the book is right there. So I have spent years, leaving this part of me off of my bio, off of my website. You go to my website, martiangel.com, you won't find any of that there. I don't even have it in my podcast conversations. Not anymore. Because the mujerpreneurs who need me, you deserve all of me, not just the edited professional, right? So I'm coming clean. I am telling the truth now. I am letting you know how it is that I coach you, what it is that I see you, how this is the full Marti Angel Sixth Sense Mujer, present, activated, and ready to see what you cannot yet see for yourself. That's who I am, and I'm ready to serve. Mujeres hermosas chulas. My question that I ask every day is, Lord God, how do I become a vessel big enough to hold your light in my vessel? Mujeres hermosas chulas, if this episode landed in your heart today, I want you to do 3 things. Share this episode with a mujer in your life who you know has gifts she has been hiding. If you are a Latina author and you are looking for a mentor, I would be more than happy to help you. If you are looking for a business coach, a small business coach, come find me on Substack. If you just want to read my stuff, find me on Substack or on the Marti Angel blog. You see, I am Marti Angel, the Sixth Sense Mujer, where now I begin to write openly about these gifts and how they intersect with business, leadership, and the MujerPreneur journey. And if you leave me a review when you buy the book, then I want to say gracias, because I take this world seriously. And hermosa, 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 I see you, I feel you, and I know you. I just know that your gift is exactly what someone in your world is waiting for. So, hermosas, when we lift one another, we all rise. Remember, subscribe, tap that bell, download this episode, and check the show notes for all the links. Mujeres hermosas chulas, les dejo un fuerte abrazo. This is your host of the Mujer de Exito Unbounded podcast, Marti Angel, saying gracias por estar aquí. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. May you lead with heart, serve with purpose, and have the most magical day. Namaste. Adios.